No one can really understand the silent depth that a global star goes through when the spotlights are temporarily turned off. Behind the explosions of stadium concerts and the millions of cheering voices, there was a silence that echoed as they stepped into a more private world, one tinged with uncertainty, reflection, and slow growth. For Jungkook and Taehyung, that period of silence began when BTS announced that they would focus on individual projects in mid-2022. Although the decision was not a farewell, but a shift in focus, there was still a sense of stifling loss, both for them and for the army who had become accustomed to seeing the seven names standing together on stage. Jungkook, in his own way, tried to embrace that silence. It did not immediately make its way to the global stage or the media. He chose to be silent for a moment. It was in that silence that he began to restructure his way of seeing the world. He began to write his own songs, compose lyrics, rehearse vocals every night with an intensity that was even higher than in the early days of his debut. In an interview that has now become a reference to his fans, Jungkook referred to that period as the season of rebuilding myself. When you are no longer in the crowd, you learn to hear your inner voice, he says quietly. Meanwhile, Taehyung chooses a different path. He entered the world of visual arts. He visited small galleries in Europe without an escort, capturing old windows and smoky cafes through the lens of his camera. He photographs not to appear, but to understand silence. Many do not know that he took a short class on color theory and visual philosophy in Florence, posing as an art student. He wrote in his personal journal about how the color red could mean resistance and longing in one brushstroke. At a time when the industry is wondering about when they will return, both are busy growing roots. It could be argued that the Golden Album is not just a piece of music, it is a stitched-back fragment of Jungkook's soul. He composed the songs on the album with a very personal approach. Not much metaphor, not much blurring, just the raw honesty that flows from the sound and lyrics. The song Standing Next to You feels like an unspoken confession of love. While 3D, his collaboration with Jack Harlow, showcases Jungkook's flamboyant and futuristic side, as if he wants to prove that he can dance between Western aesthetics and Eastern emotions. However, behind all that achievement, #OneBillboard, more than 2 million copies in a day, hidden a burden that is not small. Jungkook once revealed that he cried the first night the album was released. Not out of fear of results, but rather because he ends up releasing a part of himself into the world. It was both gratitude and anxiety. What makes Golden special is not the lineup of big names behind its production, but because the album is a meeting point between a Korean teenager growing up on camera and a 27-year-old man who is finally starting to get to know himself. At Golden, we don't just hear Jungkook's voice. We hear his steps, which are sometimes doubtful, sometimes full of confidence. Unlike Jungkook, who expresses himself through music, Taehyung chooses a more contemplative approach. He is not an easy figure to guess. When fans guessed he would be releasing a mixtape, he instead appeared as a curator at a contemporary art exhibition in Seoul. While everyone was waiting for an explosive dance track, he actually sang a sad ballad that seemed to be written by a poet. Taehyung isn't just looking for fame. It searches for meaning. In many interviews, he talks more about hidden beauty than about sales charts. He describes himself as an artist in search. His solo album, released at the end of 2023, although smaller in terms of scale than Golden, took the art world by storm. It features a blend of jazz, soul, and traditional Korean elements, creating a kind of melancholic but richly colored soundscape. Some critics have called it a meditative album in musical form. There was something special about the way Jungkook looked at Taehyung. And instead, there's an unspoken tenderness in the way Taehyung taps Jungkook on the shoulder in the small moments captured on camera. For the public, they are two idols next to each other on the stage. But for those who have followed them since the beginning, their relationship is much deeper. Like two stars growing out of the same sky, different in light, yet inseparable by space. They debuted at a very young age. Taehyung is 17 years old. Jungkook is even younger. They are not just co-workers. They learn to grow together under tremendous pressure, in cheers and sharp criticism, in a world that demands perfection from children who have not yet finished shaping their identity. They had a fight. Never misunderstood. They've been away from each other for a while. But as Jungkook revealed in one live broadcast session, Taehyung is my comfort zone. Even when we're quiet, I feel calm. It's not just a compliment. It's a confession from a man who has been through life under the spotlight and knows who stays with him even when the light dims. Taehyung once wrote in one of his now-deleted Weverse posts, "Jungkook and I are like night and morning, but we are in the same cycle and always come back." In the series, Are You Sure? Their togetherness feels authentic. Whether they're sitting in the car staring into the night in the Norwegian countryside or flirting at a local market in San Francisco, it's not two superstars. It's two best friends who understand each other without saying a word. The world may change, the music may change genres, but something they have in common seems to stay, a friendship that grows from time, from honesty, and from the wounds they care for together. An all-male star in South Korea can shy away from this one reality: conscription. For BTS, it's not just a matter of patriotism, but also a symbol of life's great transition, taking a break from the world's spotlight to do their civic duty. Jungkook and Taehyung, just like their peers, signed up voluntarily and secretly at the end of 2023. They did not hold a press conference. There is no big ceremony. Just one or two goodbye uploads and silence, but the silence was deafening. The world seemed to stop for a moment. Hashtags like #WaitForTaehyung and #OT7Forever filled social media, becoming a kind of digital prayer that incessantly flowed from millions of fans around the world. According to official reports from Big Hit, both underwent basic military training at the same location. Although not much information was released, rumors from fellow soldiers circulating on online forums said that Taehyung and Jungkook both showed outstanding performance in training. The news that they entertained a platoon with an a cappella song, Spring Day, went viral, although it was never confirmed. To be sure, this period is not an ordinary lull. It's a very important quiet space, a space where they can distance themselves from everything that shaped them for over a decade and look back at who they really were beyond the stage and the microphone, and it is precisely from that silence that hope grows. The army is never completely silent. They create support projects, publish fan art books, create tribute videos, and even host virtual concerts in online communities. All for the sake of only one thing: to keep the flame of love alive until the moment of their return. Okay, let's move on to the next part. This time we'll explore how the K-pop industry and the world view this comeback moment, as well as the huge preparations BTS and Big Hit are putting together ahead of Taehyung and Jungkook's return to the global stage. As the world awaits, the industry continues to move. Major labels are racing to score new groups, new songs are flooding streaming platforms, and fans are trying to find homesick solace through solo projects and old content. But that's just one question that keeps popping up. When is BTS coming back? This is not just nostalgia. BTS is not just a music group. They have become a driving axis in the dynamics of the global entertainment industry. When they took a break for military service, sales charts, K-pop trends in America and Europe, and even the HYB stock index were shaking. In a fast-changing world, BTS's presence is an anchor, and their return is not just music news, but rather a cultural event.